This is the YouTube edition of my book, A Course in Miracles Workbook Nuggets, which is a study aid for the course's workbook for students. I'll begin by reading my book's commentary for today's lesson over a visual of the book's text. I'll then return with some further thoughts on the lesson, which are only included in this YouTube edition of my book. Today's lesson is part of a 10-lesson group that runs from lessons 291 through lesson 300, each of which relates to the real world as understood in the course. I'll be repeating the same introduction for each of lessons 291 through 300, so you can skip past this introduction in the future if you like. Timestamps taking you directly to today's Workbook Nuggets commentary and to my further comments are provided in the description below. In the section entitled, What is the Real World?, which precedes these 10 lessons, we are told that, quote, the real world is a symbol, like the rest of what perception offers. Yet it stands for what is opposite to what you made. Your world is seen through eyes of fear and brings the witness of terror to your mind. The real world cannot be perceived except through eyes forgiveness blesses, so they see a world where terror is impossible and witnesses to fear cannot be found, end quote. We are further told that, quote, the real world is the symbol that the dream of sin and guilt is over, and God's Son no longer sleeps, end quote. Today's lesson from my book and my further thoughts, which are only contained in this YouTube edition of the book, follow. A link to the book on Amazon.com is provided below. Lesson number 299, October 26. Eternal holiness abides in me. The final words of the prayer are, quotes, it is your will, God's, that you, God, be known, end quote. So, God is on your side. It is his will that you know God. With God pulling for you, you cannot fail. You can confuse and delay yourself with irrelevancies, but ultimately, you cannot fail. I find that comforting. The title of today's lesson is Eternal Holiness Abides in Me. The lesson tells us that our holiness cannot be understood by our ordinary conscious mind. It is only the one self we all share that can understand. There is an important lesson here. All the reading, studying, and struggling in the world will not bring you enlightenment. That's not the way it happens. Enlightenment is the rising above the ego, that part of you which studies and strives. The truths cannot be seen from the ego, no matter how hard it tries. This is why the Course focuses on removing blocks to your remembering that you are not your ego, leading you beyond the ego to your true eternal self, the one self we all share, is the aim of the Course. Once you are back in what the Course calls your right mind, the truths of the kingdom are easily grasped, since you remember that you have been in heaven all along. You have never left.